Hey buddy, what's wrong?
My tail hasn't been fully equipped yet, and I don't understand why.
Well, usually when Zainreborn doesn't put the tail onto his dinosaurs, it's because he plans to repaint them.
Wait, are you saying that I'm special or something?
I guess so. And considering the camera's here, I'm assuming your repaint's gonna happen right about now.
Wait, that can't be true. I'm the next repaint. Why do you think I'm already covered in orange? It's because I'm next in line for the repaint. So obviously it's me.
Dude, we're over here. What? Oh, sorry, I can't really see because the paint is covering my eyes. But yeah, I'm next in line for Rampant repaints.
But I'm pretty sure these are my colors.
Well, that doesn't mean anything. I'm obviously next in line, and you're gonna be...
He's already getting started, isn't he? Yup.
So jumping right into things, if we want to get that gold of the Dinosaur King Pachycephalosaurus, we gotta mix these two colors. Now, past experience has shown that I'm pretty terrible at mixing the right shade of yellow, but this yellow is just too bright for the Pachycephalosaurus on its own, so mix it we must do. So after squirting out a small amount of yellow and just a teensy bit of brown, I started mixing until I finally had a shade I was satisfied with and praying that was actually the right color. Then I just did the basic and actually started lathering the figure in this new shade. And I didn't have to put a base coat of black or gray this time because the base color of this Pachycephalosaurus is already pretty similar to the gold. So yeah, that made things a lot easier. And I gotta admit, I was pleasantly surprised with how well the paint was able to stick to the figure and how it actually does sort of resemble the Pachycephalosaurus from Dinosaur King. Now, I wasn't confident enough to get right into the brown stripes, so I just started doing the dome head, which is colored in hazy moon, as well as just covering all the spikes and pretty much the entire top of his head in this color. Now, when I eventually did get to the brown stripes, I didn't film it because I needed my phone in order to get an image of that Pachycephalosaurus so I could replicate those stripes. Starting off easy with the tail, and then once I was confident enough, I moved on to the rest of the body, and what do you know, I actually did a pretty good job with it. Because the Pachycephalosaurus has some very unique striping. It has brown stripes, but the stripes are made in a way to make it look like the gold is actually the striping pattern, and the brown is actually what its back is supposed to be. Then to the part we're all waiting for, where I added the paint color shift to give it that special dome head that makes the DK Pachy so unique from any other Pachy in existence. Then it was just adding the blue eye, the dark pupil, and covering the beak and the claws in obsidian, and gotta say, this was a very easy repaint, as it only took one whole day to finish it. Then I seal it up with the Mod Podge, insert the tail,
and voila! Oh man, I'm actually really surprised at how good this turned out. Especially on a lot of the head detail. I mean, I guess on camera the eye doesn't look that perfect, but the beak is super shiny. Honestly, this whole head is super shiny, and I really like the way it turned out. I mean, I guess it does kind of, you have to hit it just right to get that special glow that these transparent, color shift paints are supposed to give off, which is perfect for this Pachycephalosaurus. I did have to apply a brand new coat of the obsidian just to make those claws, because I noticed that actually it was the same with the Corythosaurus I did. When I gave it obsidian paint, I was a little impatient and I tried to add the gloss immediately, and it made the claws just look a little, just fade off a bit. But yeah, the stripes also look really nice, and what I'm most shocked about is the color looks right. Usually this shade of color I struggle with a lot. But not this time. This time I actually got the perfect amount of yellow and brown mixed together to make this Pachycephalosaurus gold-ish color. I may use this mix again when I eventually repaint Grim, if I decide, because it looked good on this Pachycephalosaurus, but I'm not sure about how to look on Grim. But other than that, yeah, I'm quite happy with how the teenager turned out. Oh, what's that? Why do I call him the teenager? Well then, just go watch the Dinosaur King commentaries on Dinosaur 1's channel, and you'll find out exactly why I call him the teenager.
No, man, don't watch those! Those videos are so old-fashioned!
Yeah, they may be old, but they're gonna need context if they want to find out how you got your nickname, the teenager.
None of their business how I got my name! Ugh!
Owie!
Oh, hey buddy, did you finish your repaint yet?
Oh!
Is it finally my turn? Also, am I facing the right direction?
Oh!
Oh no, it appears that the teenager is out of control. Without an authority figure to keep him in check, he's just gonna destroy everything. So let's make someone to keep them in line, shall we?
And who better to keep him in check than the brilliant scientist who created him in the first place? That's right, we're going to be making a clay figure Dr. Z. This is probably the only way I'm gonna get most of you to watch these clay videos, and I'm perfectly okay with that. So Dr. Z, at first I had to snap off a piece of wire for his neck to attach the neck to the body. Then I started making the body and the pants. Then I started adding a pink tie and shoes. Although I will admit this is a bit untraditional to how I usually do things, where I usually bake them in segments. First I do the body, then the legs, and then I bake it, then I add all the head and accessories. But I was rushing to get this, to make sure I didn't put this off until the last minute, so yeah, I had to put it all in one and hope that he didn't fall apart in the oven. Then I gave him a simple sphere for a head, which I then put a hole in it and attached to his body. Then the tricky part was his lab coat, where I kept having to add more white clay to get it to be more wide enough so that I could wrap the clay around his whole body, giving him that lab coat. Take 2 more pieces of white clay, put holes in it, add some peach clay for the hands. Then we just had to add the beard and that weird hair he has on his head, which it took a while before I decided how I wanted it to look, and I just came up with a single flat blade to glue on the top of his head for later, as well as just a little beard, just 3 spikes instead of the usual 5 spikes, just for simplicity, since these figures are really small and I have to make sure that they are within my ability. And since I had some time left over, I decided to make a baby Terry out of clay as well. I also brought up Ace as a size comparison to make sure that I didn't make him too small. Although I do remember Ace being a lot easier than Terry. For some reason, I was just coming into a lot of struggles. Like, his claws kept falling off, and I just couldn't get his hump was just, he was very hunched back. So I had to chop off a lot of clay, but then I didn't chop it off right, so I had to do a lot of rolling before I finally got him to look correct. And even after I was done baking, those spikes I put on him just kept falling off, and I had to glue on both of the ones at the end of the tail. But once he was finished, I threw him in the oven, 275 degrees Fahrenheit in the oven for 15 minutes.
And voila, we have Dr. Z and Baby Terry. Probably one of the easier, well, okay, it was tricky to get some things like the hair and the beard. In fact, even the beard looks a bit weird. It's just a circle with hair, that's about it. But other than that, I'm very impressed with how both of these guys actually have really good balance. Most of my figures require extra pieces of clay to keep them balanced, but not Dr. Z. His shoes, that's probably because I figured out that, oh, the shoes need a little bit behind them if they want to keep the figure from falling backwards, and a lot more on the front to keep them forward. So I guess he does have some Kingdom Hearts shoes, but at least he stands. That's kind of the important thing to me. And Terry looks really good too. I mean, again, he's got some really big shoes. I think I did a better job on Ace, but at least he has painted eyes. I'll decide if I want to give him a pupil or not, because as I said before, I like to keep my characters without faces so I can animate them on later. But if I decide that it does look a little too weird, then I'll eventually add a pupil. And look at that, Dr. Z has already tamed the teenager. At least for now. We all know Dr. Z can say a few things that can make these dinosaurs turn on them in an instant. The only dinosaur that actually truly respects Dr. Z is the Pachycephalosaurus. And before you ask, no, I'm not gonna paint my current Pachycephalosaurus to look like the Dinosaur King one. The first reason being that this is a very different shape from the actual Pachycephalosaurus. If I actually got like an accurate Pachycephalosaurus of this size, then I would repaint that to be a Dinosaur King Pachycephalosaurus. Second reason being this is one of my favorite repaints and I don't want to paint over it. The only downside to this repaint is that I really have no way of opening the beak without chipping the paint. But you know what, that's a whatever. I can barely get the beak of the regular one to open anyway, so like, I'll just keep it closed. It looks better when it's closed anyway. So yeah, that's about all this video has to offer. We painted the Pachycephalosaurus, we made Dr. Z, and a baby Terry. And please stop asking me what I'm gonna paint next because I honestly don't know. It's gonna be a surprise, even for me.
Can it please be me?
No.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the video from beginning to end. If you want to see more, subscribe to the channel and join the Zainreborn community. See you in the next one. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye.